I'm Jeff Ado. This is Lunacy, where we discern the sacred from the insane and admit that whether we like it or not, we are all profoundly affected by the cycles of the moon. My guest today is Jason Telford, who works for Patagonia and is a member of their, what's it called? What's the committee that you're part of?
It's the Community Grants Council.
Okay, the Community Grants Council, right. And he also happens to live right behind where this gold mine is going to be set up in Grass Valley. Isn't that right?
That's correct. I live about a half a mile from ground zero, as we like to say.
Ground zero, exactly. Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Too close for comfort.
Too close for comfort in your backyard. Literally in your backyard. Actually,
yes,
in
indeed.
your backyard. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the mine. This is the last, hopefully this is the last episode that I ever do on this show about the mine. All right. And you might be thinking, oh, maybe I should just skip this one, Jeff, because, whatever. Don't skip this one. Okay. I promise you there will be something for you. Also, it's not just about this gold mine that happens to be in Jason's backyard and in my neighborhood. This is about the environment as a whole. And this talk that we're about to give, this discussion that we're about to have, is about each of us taking a stand for the environment in which we live and really working to, to manifest a world that is in harmony with nature and the world around us. Right, Jason?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's why so many people come to this area and are drawn in by the natural splendor and beauty and access to fresh air and trees and flowing rivers and nature above all. That's why we're here, is because the people around us are a community, and the vast majority of people that live here are here because of the natural beauty and the splendor that we have right at our doorsteps.
Yeah, exactly. I know for me, I know I shared a little bit already, but my wife and I we lived in LA for 20 years. And then, during COVID, it got really crazy. Extra homeless problems, which are not being dealt with, which is super unfortunate. But also we wanted to have a house with land, and we wanted to be closer to nature where we could walk out our door and really go for a hike and bike ride and really grow things in our garden and really cultivate and, be part of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds sort of ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous. That's the way that we ought to be living. And so when we moved up here and found out about the mine, it was very alarming. We were just like, are you kidding me? We just sunk our entire life savings into buying a home up here and making a life for ourselves. And now it's going to go all get screwed up. And I know you can certainly relate to that. And that's the threat that we're facing. So maybe for anybody who hasn't heard, we should just give a little background about what the mine is.
Yeah. So the Idaho Maryland Mine was closed. Some would say at the peak of production or before it hit peak production. But that was when the price of gold was capped. And so it was no longer profitable to extract, that natural resource. And so since the mine closed, a wonderful community of schools and light industry and homeowners like yourself have, poured their money into their living arrangement. And, I lived in a place where I didn't want to raise my children. So I moved here to do that because my wife is from here and her parents are from here and their parents' parents are from here. And what we saw happen after the mine close is a community sprang up. And now it's no longer a suitable place to have this heavy industry.
Right.
I did get a disclosure when I bought my house, when we bought our house in 2005, that there was a mine nearby.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest issues I have with the mine opening is that the disclosure I received stated that the land was zoned for light industrial.
Mm-hmm.
It's an M1.
Okay.
And in order to become a functioning underground mine again, the zoning has to change to ME, which is mineral extraction.
Okay.
So just based on that alone, I didn't pay my mortgage for the last 18 years for mineral extraction.
Right.
That's not okay with me.
Yeah.
It's not okay with my neighbors.
Yeah.
A lot of us have wells there. And how much is your house worth without water?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most important asset that any home can have.
Exactly.
I mean, you could live in a cinder block shack with an asbestos roof on it.
Mm-hmm.
But without water, you've got zero property value.
Right. Exactly. And also, I mean, you just can't live there anymore. It just completely spoils the whole environment. Yeah. So that's one of the things that would happen. That's obviously, a big passion of mine. The song I wrote, Wells Run Dry, is all about that, right? The wells run dry and the people are thirsty. Wells run dry and the people awake, which was essentially about that. There's this huge threat that we can see. Exactly. We can see it right now. We know what the ramifications are. At least we know some of the ramifications. Probably whatever it is that you and I are imagining, it's going to be, it would actually be worse than that. So we're at a moment in history where we can see, Jason and I and everybody in this area and everybody who listens to this podcast can have a voice in stopping this travesty from happening, which would severely impact our environment. And now is the time for us to take a stand. So that's where you and I are coming from in this dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more important now than ever to make your voice heard. And that's why I'm thankful that you invited me today and that you have this podcast to inform the people that this could happen if they just sit around and watch it happen.
Right.
And I think the vast majority of people, if they are aware and have done even 5 minutes of their own research, would be against this mine continuing.
Absolutely.
We do have a legacy of mining here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there are some people that have these visions of grandeur.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's get back to our great mining history.
Yeah, our big mining roots.
We're paying the price for this.
Yeah.
100 years later.
Yeah.
Mining companies, I'm not going to say all the bad things I want to say about them, but, this one in particular.
You can say as many bad things as you want to on this show.
They've cut and run. So, they failed miserably in Canada. There's still a massive cleanup.
Yeah, so let's just put a button in that and just put some context around it. So there's a company called Rise Gold. They are a Canadian company. Not that I have anything against Canadians. My wife is Canadian. All right. I love you, Canada. And go Maple Leafs. But it's a Canadian company. They're going to come in here. They bought the rights to open this mine. They would open the mine. They would extract gold. In the process, they're taking, I don't know how many tons of toxic, rock and waste out of the ground every day. 1.2 million gallons of water per day that they're going to pump out of our aquifer. They're going to quote unquote create jobs, but we live in a place that there's the unemployment is less than 4%, which means there are more jobs than people. Plus those jobs are skilled jobs that people are not trained for here. So they'd have to ship people in. Those people are going to then move into probably rental properties, which is going to drive up the price of rental properties. At the same time, it's going to tank real estate values. There's really nothing good about it, particularly from the perspective of like, oh, remember the good old mining days, the 1949er thing, it's going to be great. Anybody can get rich. That's not the case. It's a company from Canada. They're going to take all the gold for themselves. They're stealing our Lucky Charms. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the CEO,
Ben Mossman,
who's the CEO of Rise Gold, he was the CEO of some other company.
Yep.
In Canada.
That's Banks Island Gold.
Okay.
And Banks Island Gold Ltd.
Okay.
Is his failed company.
Yeah. So tell us more.
So there's a mine owned by Ben Mossman. The company was Banks Island Gold Ltd.
Yeah.
And the name of the mine was the Yellow Giant.
Okay.
Well, it was actually a small mine,
Hmm.
much smaller than the Idaho Maryland mine that they want to reopen.
Oh, that's interesting.
So when people, play with their toys, that doesn't always turn out well.
Yeah.
And in this case, some rules were broken and some toxic mine tailings leaked into native salmon rearing habitat. So it caused it's still a big mess, hasn't been cleaned up. And, the taxpayers are stuck with the bill because the $420,000 deposit is nowhere near the $1.6 million that it's going to take to clean it up.
Yeah, right. And also disturbingly, they were only fined like
15,000,
which isn't
slap
nothing.
on the hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's become of the local native tribes people that live in there, but I'm assuming their water's all messed up and everything,
that's
right?
their, salmon are their most sacred food source.
I see. I get it.
So that's the crux.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. Awful. So now the same company wants to open a mine here, and they're
with the new name.
Yeah, Rise Gold.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, pretty cool name. Pretty cool name, Rise Gold.
4 letters.
It is. Yeah. 4 letters and 4 letters. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
It's 2 4-letter words.
It is.
Yeah, Rise Gold. So, yeah, let's just get into kind of some of because some of the groundwater contamination issues that could and would happen for sure, and like your chief concerns as a homeowner.
Yes, well, initially to open the mine, these flooded shafts have to be dewatered.
Right.
So that means pumps, that means millions of gallons a day dumped down Wolf Creek. Mm-hmm. And that's an impact right there.
Yeah.
To that riparian zone.
Mm-hmm.
When Rise Gold was here on East Bennett Road, they put up some curtains and got down to their dirty business. And apparently they didn't even remember to use a tape measure because they took out a bunch of trees that were too close to the creek.
Okay.
So something as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they can be trusted.
Yeah.
I don't think I would let them change a tire on my wheelbarrow. I don't think they have 2 nickels to rub together, honestly.
Yeah.
If you had invested in Rise Gold,
yeah,
back during this Banks Island episode, if you put in $10,000, you'd have about $40 today.
Okay.
So these penny stock mining companies rely on good news. Hey, we have a press release. We put in our EIR, and it's looking good because it's all propaganda. And then they sell some stock, right? Mm-hmm. And then later it tanks. But it's been trading sideways for years. It's like 50 cents a share.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
These guys have no money.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how they can even buy gas for their trucks.
Yeah. Right. Well, and regardless, what's incredibly alarming is that the draft environmental impact report, that was opposed by, I think it was 480 or so people, somewhere around that, showed up at the Planning Commission meeting the last time. Mm-hmm. I was there.
Me too.
And sang, and that was fun.
Yeah.
And so then the supervisors went ahead and then declared it the FEIR, the final environmental impact report, without making any of the changes that any of us mentioned. Mm-hmm. And I mean, look, Jason, I don't know about you, okay, but I am not a scientist. I am just a passionate person. There were so many scientists and biologists and like doctors, et cetera, who were talking about the real actual effects using actual statistics of what would happen if they didn't adjust this environmental impact report. And yet the supervisors declared it a final environmental impact report, which without changing anything, which is super disturbing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I still can't figure out why they would do that. Do you want to hazard a guess on that?
I think people are starting to be a little bit apathetic about this whole issue.
Okay.
A lot of people I talk to on the street, friends, family, young people, old people, people my age, there's kind of a common thread, which is really scary to me. And that sentiment, the overall sentiment that I get is, that'll never happen. We don't need to worry about that happening, and I think that attitude is precisely why this issue keeps coming up again and again and again. This is the third time.
Yeah.
This is the second Canadian company that's tried to reopen the closed, defunct Idaho Maryland mine. And, it's these kind of attitudes of, won't happen to me that are what's going to get us in trouble with this mine. And I think by coming out to the meeting on May 10th and coming out in numbers, in force, in power to finally put a stop to this thing. I mean, I'm sick of the stress of this cycle every 7 to 8 years of, there's going to be a mine in my backyard.
Yeah.
Right. And so we need to make sure that this is the last time. And the way that we do that is to show up and make our voices heard.
Yeah, absolutely. That still doesn't totally answer the question of why the supervisors declared it a final environmental impact report.
I think they're in a hurry. I think they're just being lazy.
Okay.
And they just want to push it through. Maybe they're eager to get to the voting part of this.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's
the case.
My heart of hearts thinks that maybe that's why they're sick of drawing it out, kicking the can down the road.
Right.
Again and again. That's what people get frustrated with in our government is that there's so much time and litigation that things take forever.
Yeah.
Well, if we could just take charge and nip this thing in the bud, maybe they do want to vote no and just get it over with. Done. Because they're probably sick of getting the same letters from all of us.
Yeah.
I wrote a letter. You wrote letters.
Yeah, several.
I'm trying to get everyone I know to write letters. And, maybe, just maybe, what they've seen so far makes them fearful of what could potentially come. Like, we need to put a stop to this mine and then make sure that no one tries to open a mine there ever. Yeah. And just end it. Like, can we just stop it for good?
The optimistic take is that they've seen enough that they're just like, there's no way that we could do this. And plus also the people are clearly going to revolt if we try and make this a reality, which we would.
Big time. Big time.
The pessimistic view is somehow they're just trying to push it through. And then, I don't know, Rise Gold maybe is like fudging the numbers on the back end, or they're getting a deal, or which it seems to be like pretty impossible given that the sort of, the Nevada County political machine has a pretty good track record. There's not a lot of there's no scandal. They seem to be on the up and up, but it doesn't change the fact that that's possible. And also, to your point, if we are apathetic as a community about this, then God only knows what happens. And I think even further to your point that, the more that we take a stand, that we show up, that we write letters, that we be there, that's more demonstrative of the paradigm of people on planet Earth shifting, that we're going to take care of this mess, and not let it go to, not let it just burn up. So, and on that note, I know you work for Patagonia, maybe we could talk a little bit about Patagonia's stance for the planet and kind of the 1%. Because I also interviewed Paul Huckamovich, who's an entrepreneur who created a company called Relion that's a lithium ion battery company. And they're also a 1% for the planet company.
Okay.
So I know a little bit about it, but maybe we could just sort of transition into, what it means to take a stand for the planet as a whole. And certainly Patagonia does that as a company. So maybe you could speak to that a little bit.
Absolutely. The founder of Patagonia, Yvon Chouinard, formed 1% for the planet. And this is an organization where companies will donate 1% of either sales or profits to the environment. And so in the case of Patagonia, we have been donating 1% of sales, not profits, for many years. And it's gotten to be quite a significant number.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And we try to get our dealers to think about being 1% for the planet, even though 1% could significantly cut into, their take home and their overall gross margin at the end of the year. But it is the way that we want people to be thinking.
Yeah. And when you say 1% for the planet, where does this 1% go?
It goes to fight an environmental crisis.
Like this
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are certain things that Patagonia will fund, and there are certain things that Patagonia will not fund.
Sure.
But it's a democratic process where we invite people to read grants. They can be people in the community, they can be business owners, or even people that work in the shops. And then we vote on what we want to fund. And so I've been a part of this community grants council that's local. We look at issues in the Reno Tahoe area, and that Reno Tahoe area does extend down here into the foothills.
Yeah.
Which is important because, Truckee is part of Nevada County as well. And I know a lot of people in Truckee will come down here and mountain bike before their trails are rideable.
Yeah.
And especially this year, because they're going to be under snow for quite some time. But it's pretty special to have a company and to work for a company that gives back to the environment and to causes that we feel are important.
Yeah.
So we work with mountain area preservation, Tahoe Food Hub, so farm to table, organic food, regenerative organic farming practices. We're all in.
Yeah.
To anything that isn't like a fish hatchery or trail building.
Yeah.
For example.
That's great. And you were mentioning to me earlier when we were just catching up about there's a river that they saved somewhere recently.
The Vjosa River in Europe. We saved that.
Where is that in Europe?
Romania.
Okay. And what were they going to do?
It was going to be dammed for hydroelectric power. And now it's going to stay wild. Okay.
That's amazing. And how did you do that? How did Patagonia?
Well, it wasn't easy, and no one ever thought we would ever get this far with this project, but it took working with governments and lots of lobbying and getting the word out.
Wow. And the people of Romania, did they rise up and say, okay, don't dam our river? Or was it? Oh, they did. Wow. That's so cool. And Patagonia also supports this project, right? On some level?
Yes, we have voted to partner with community environmental advocates.
Yeah.
And to date, Patagonia has donated $25,000.
Okay.
To help with the cause.
Cool.
And I think a lot of that's going towards legal.
Yeah. That's great. So let's talk about personally, I'm a huge fan, and I talk about a lot on this program, trying to embrace a love operating system, right? Where instead of coming from a fear-based, greed-based system, which is kind of what we've inherited, the scarcity model, that I'm actively seeking to come from love more. How is it that I love people more, love my environment more, love my work more, bring more love to my music, to my speaking, my sharing, my work. And that's obviously, that seems to be something that you're invested in yourself, given that you work for Patagonia, given that you're taking a stand against the mine. I'm just wondering if you could speak a little bit to from your own perspective on what that means to you, what it means to work for a company that has a purpose, that's giving 1% back, what it means to be taking a stand for our community here in Grass Valley.
Well, let me just start by saying that I've worked for a lot of brands, and a lot of them have kind of the same kind of boilerplate. We're for the people and the planet. And I think there are some brands that do pretty well with that. But we are trying to walk the talk and drink our own water. By no means are we sustainable. I mean, building apparel is not a super clean business, but we're trying to be as clean as we can.
Right.
Through the use of tip of the spear materials like 100% recycled fishing nets, making shorts and jackets out of that fabric. We're working to promote cotton and conversion and regenerative organic farming practices. We don't buy fabric from mills when they say, hey, do you want to buy all this material in red and black and blue and all the colors? And here's the makeup of that material. All of our fabrics are proprietary fabrics that we make that no one else gets. And we're happy to share that technology as we do. But we've also pushed, companies like Gore-Tex to make product that is PFC free in both the DWR and the laminate.
Okay.
So
you just said a bunch of acronyms that I don't fucking know what you're talking about. What is the Gore-Tex? Just say it again, but tell me what the acronyms mean, because I don't.
Okay. DWR is the durable water repellent finish.
Okay.
That's on the face of
Gore-Tex.
Everything from rain jackets to backpacks to rain pants to ski jackets, and almost everything has some kind of DWR finish. It's like a wax.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there are also, unfortunately, the best DWR finishes, the most repellent finishes that are used on fabrics contain PFCs, which are perfluorinated chemistries.
Okay.
And so you might remember...
Very bad. Very bad. Very bad for you. Very bad.
Extremely bad.
Why are they so bad?
They're bad because they're forever chemicals. They don't break down in the environment, and they don't break down in our body. In fact, if we tested your blood and we tested my blood today, we would have parts per billion of this fluorinated chemistry in our systems.
Because I was sucking on my mittens. It's
in nonstick pans.
Oh, right.
For example.
Yeah, I don't know any of those.
So I don't either.
Yeah.
So Patagonia has worked really hard to eliminate these PFCs, these perfluorinated chemistries from our entire line.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. We still have some garments that do contain PFCs, but we are getting rid of them. It's a process, or as your Canadian friends would say, it's a process.
Yes.
And so...
Process. Sorry, it's a process.
Yes. We worked with Gore to develop a ski jacket last year. That was the first of its kind PFC-free Gore-Tex ski jacket.
Oh.
And one of the conversations that we had with Gore was just really trying to create a sense of urgency around getting rid of this technology.
Yeah.
Because we want to eliminate it from our product line.
Right.
And in partnering with Gore, we were able to come up with this jacket. And it will be, that technology will be available to other brands now too.
That's great.
So we're trying to lead the way in terms of responsibility and sustainable materials.
That's amazing. Good. That's good. So my Arc'teryx jacket is probably full of PFCs.
If it's most likely, yeah.
Shit.
But, it's still a great jacket.
Yeah, it's a beautiful jacket.
Yeah.
Now I can't suck on it.
Yeah. No. So it should be noted that
There goes my jacket sucking fetish.
PFCs on your jacket, it's not going to hurt you.
Okay.
It's more about
Unless I'm sucking on it.
the water that's used in manufacturing and how we clean that up.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, great. So back to the mine. May 10th is the date. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for people to show up. Anybody, everybody to show up. And it doesn't matter, people think, well, it's interesting. You were talking about earlier, like, there's a certain amount of apathy, like, well, that'll never happen. And then on the other side, there's like, I talked to a guy at the Briar Patch, the grocery store here, the other day who was like, oh yeah, that's, they're already paid off, right? Aren't they? His assumption is the opposite, that like, it really doesn't matter what we say. But we're here to tell you that it absolutely does matter, 100%. And the more people we can get to show up, the more of a guarantee that we have that this thing will not go forward. And it also demonstrates to the supervisors and the planning commission that we are not kidding around, and that this is incredibly important to us, and that, they will lose their jobs if they don't comply with our wishes as the people.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one of the most insane things about this whole project is, if approved, it has the potential to go on for 80 years.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone, this is just me, but I don't think anyone should be able to vote on anything that's going to be happening long past their life expectancy.
Right.
That's not just my kids are going to have to go through this, but my kids' kids.
I'm going to be so
and
dead.
My kids may not even decide to have kids.
Yeah.
If they can't get out of here.
Yeah.
Because of this pollution machine that wants to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many things about it, from, the air quality here, the fact that our air quality is already not great.
No.
Actually.
Yeah.
A day like today, you wouldn't notice.
We got an F.
Yeah. We have a poor,
from
failing grade.
The people that are matter. I can't remember who gave us the F, but there was the people that you don't want to get the F from. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, we already have an F as far as our
We
air.
do.
And there's no question that there's going to be asbestos in the air. And by the way, the solution that is in the environmental impact report for them getting rid of the asbestos in the air is that they would douse it with water.
Right.
Which, first of all, doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't work, because these molecules are so tiny and you can't contain all of that dust when you're pounding rock with heavy equipment. Then it just goes into the water. Then it goes into the groundwater. So you're taking the asbestos that you're creating it and you're putting it right back into the ground, it's even just as bad.
Yeah, this there's no safe exposure to asbestos.
There's not like a 2%.
There's no threshold for a safe exposure.
I didn't know
level.
that. Mm-mm.
So even one person inhaling 5 asbestos fibers, that's deemed unsafe.
Right.
So, and it's not like, a sickness that you just get over. We're talking like deadly lung cancer.
Yeah. You're probably going to kick it from this down the road.
Yeah. And so that's unmitigatable.
Yeah.
There's 86 unmitigatable hazards from this mine.
Really?
Yeah,
Name
86.
Them. Let's hear you.
Well, some of them are.
If he names 86 things right now, you guys,
I'm not going to get to 86, but the big ones are air quality, right? No one wants to breathe asbestos.
Yep.
The other one is air quality. No one wants to breathe diesel smoke and ozone.
No, God, no.
The other one is noise.
Yeah.
The other one is potential explosions.
Oh, yeah, right. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So what's crazy, Rise Gold, they want to use ammonium nitrate.
Uh-huh.
So if you remember, just, a little history book, just go back 3 years to Beirut.
Right.
The Beirut explosion was an ammonium nitrate dump.
Yeah.
That, that was deadly.
Yeah.
And accidents happen.
Deadly, and then also super contaminatory to the people around. Contaminatory. Is that a word? Contaminatory?
It is now.
It sounds like a word.
Yep.
If it's not, it should be. Know what I mean? You heard it here first, everybody. Watch out. Jeff Shakespeare Ado over here. Contaminatory. Fuck it. Yeah. So, and that's what they're going to be using is this ammonium nitrate.
Exactly. So I believe that
500 feet under the ground, they're just going to blow shit up.
Blowing shit up whenever they want.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, I think you hear a lot, the mine, it's going to bring some jobs.
Yeah.
Well, you said earlier, we have more open jobs than we have people to fill them.
Yeah.
We've got more jobs than people that want to work.
Yeah.
And if you want a job, it's not hard to get one.
No.
If you can do a clean drug test, you can drive a truck for Walmart and make like 85 grand on your first day.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not buying this whole argument of jobs. Mm-hmm. And I'm not buying any arguments of all the tax revenue that is going to come magically to the county, because there's going to be so many people that refuse to come here.
Yeah.
No one's going to come here for tourism. No one's going to come here for wine tasting. No one's going to come here to ride their bike. No one's going to come here to hang out on the Yuba.
Right.
Because it's going to be a toxic cesspool here.
Exactly.
And that's not a place that I'm going to have, like, my Airbnb's not going to be happening. I don't have one.
Right. But if you did.
If I did, I would love to make improvements to my house. Mm-hmm. But I'm on a spending freeze right now until this thing gets put to bed.
Right.
Because I'm not going to invest in my property.
Yeah.
I'll work on fire safe stuff.
Right.
In defensible space. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to build an ADU and punch a well until I know that the well's not going to get drained by the mine.
Right.
What the county stands to lose, what the county could potentially be dealing with a toxic disaster, which we already have. Just take a walk anywhere around this area.
Yeah. And by the way, that's no kidding. Like there's, if you go to the Empire Mine State Park, there's all these signs all over the place. It says, don't go in the water because it's toxic from this mine that was there 100 years ago.
Yeah. No, when I moved here with my wife, we found out she was pregnant. Uh-huh. And we had no house. We were living with my in-laws, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah. I love you, Bev and Skip.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us stay at your house while we looked for our own.
Right.
So I'd like to say that.
Yeah. Good.
We visited many houses. My wife and I probably looked at 60 houses. We told our realtor, hey, we'll just find one on our own. We looked at MLS every morning. Oh, let's go look at these places. Let's go look at this house. We found a house. We're like, this is too good to be true. There's a creek in the backyard. Uh-huh. It's like 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's on an acre. Well, it happened to be up near Banner Lava Cap. And we just knocked on the door, and the woman that answered said she was dying of cancer. And when we left, we had to go up the street to make a U-turn, and her property was bordering the mine on Banner Lava Cap. Uh-huh. And, sometimes you just have to know 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
And so that's a super fun site. That's a toxic site that's never been cleaned up. And you just have to wonder. We do have a really high rate of cancer in
Yeah.
Nevada County
Mm-hmm.
already.
Right.
So
Probably from all the mining.
I mean, that's my suspicion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know,
It doesn't make me happy. I'm glad I live in Rough and Ready. Rough and Ready. That's right. You're in the great republic of Rough and Ready.
I like it here.
You better watch out, Jason. You're lucky you're on my team, man.
You're a foothill Billy.
You better watch out. I got a shotgun. I got a flag in my garage. It says Great Republic of Rough and Ready. I'm looking to start it up again. That's right. Better watch out, people. I'm the unofficial, self-declared commander-in-chief of the Great Republic of Rough and Ready. You know what I mean?
It's a good spot.
That's right. It is a good spot. Anyway, so yeah, the other thing that I find frustrating is either people are they're either apathetic or they think that the government, that's already bought off and doesn't matter what we say. Then there's also people that think it's like a conservative, versus it's a political thing, this is just a liberal cause, you know what I mean? But it's not. This is outside of Democrats and Republicans and conservatives and liberals. This is really about our land, our welfare as people, which, I mean, you just kind of illuminated that, here again, there's this thing that happened so many, decades ago that now this woman, I'm sure she's probably dead by now, frankly, from these terrible cancers that she received. This is really like an everyone's problem kind of a thing. And if we don't take a stand, then we're just, it's a suicidal thing that we do, It's really just saying, okay, well, we're just going to die. Let's just give up the whole ghost.
Right.
Versus, and I really want to make this point that, if we do take a stand, then that's giving ourselves purpose. And there's nothing more important than purpose in this life. Having purpose, literally, they've proven that if you have purpose in your life, you feel that you have a purpose, it increases your health dramatically. And certainly it increases the quality of your life dramatically. So you may not live anywhere near Grass Valley, but I tell you what, if you go to minewatchnc.org and you click on write a letter, you're going to gain purpose. You're going to become part of this movement to make sure that this travesty doesn't happen to the people here. And we got your back, let us know. Let me know for sure if there's something that you have, there's a cause that you have in your local area that we can help out with, because that's really what matters. It's, I really feel strongly that the shift that's occurring on planet Earth is going from, an empire mentality that we should just go along with the materialistic agenda, to a people powered mentality where we're taking the power back. And this is an exact example of us doing that. So please join us. Okay.
May 10th.
May 10th.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping it's like a fun, party atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping is people make some signs.
Yeah.
People hang out. People chat. People are going to be unified and motivated to show how we feel and to really send the message.
Yeah.
That this is a bad idea.
Uh-huh.
And we're kind of over it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one that I know, it really can give me any reasons why this is a good idea.
No, there's not. There's no reasons why this is a good idea.
Right.
Unless you are Ben Mossman. Okay. And even then, I feel like it's a bad idea. He's going to get screwed. They're not going to be able to afford it. He's going to go crying back to Canada, saying sorry with his tail between his legs.
Yeah.
Wishing he hadn't done it in the first place.
I think the greater enemy, and I will come right out and say that Rise Gold and Ben Mossman, they are the enemy.
Yeah. 100%.
This is their idea. It's a cockamamie idiot move.
Yeah.
On all facets. He underestimated the power of our community already by thinking that we're all dumb shits.
Yeah. Right.
Just for eating Fritos and playing Xbox all day.
Yeah.
We're not.
No, we're not.
And he's got another thing coming.
Yeah, exactly.
I better not see him on the street.
No.
I'll tell you that because he's going to hear from me.
Yeah. All right.
And so But my greatest fear is if it does get approved and old Mossbag decides to sell Rise Gold and the rights to somebody who really knows how to mine.
Yeah.
Because he's just playing with Legos.
Yeah. Right. He already screwed up one other thing.
He's just...
He doesn't know what he's doing.
He wants to be this gold mining guy. And, if he wants to mine gold, I give him a pan.
Yeah.
And say, go do it. Go try it out.
Yeah.
The old fashioned way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so,
but that's a real concern.
Oh, it's a huge concern.
Is that if there's two things that, and this is critical for those of us here in Nevada County, and what this county supervisors meeting or this planning commission meeting is deciding on is, number one, whether to certify the final environmental impact report, which would be absolutely insane because there are so many glaring holes in it. Mm-hmm. But if they did say yes on that, mm-hmm. then some other company could buy it. Mm-hmm. Some other company could buy the rights, and that would be very bad because you're right. Somebody else who knows what the hell they're doing, some coal mining company or whatever, I don't know. Okay, they come in and they buy it because they're like, well, there's a final environmental impact report, so we can do something here. Then they might actually go through with it. And so that's a major concern. And then the second thing that the Planning Commission meeting on May 10th is going to decide is whether or not they should vote for the mine, which of course we want them to say no to both of those things, right? Because it's critical.
Yeah. I mean, I would urge anyone listening today to prepare some written comments. You get 3 minutes up there.
Yeah.
And you can use those 3 minutes in a really compelling way.
Yeah.
Have some notes, do a little homework, and, come prepared to, really let people know how you feel face to face, because there's value in that.
Absolutely.
Letters are great. Signing postcards are great. We have a groundswell of support here. Mm-hmm. But how many people we get to that meeting on May 10th, that's really what's going to show.
Absolutely.
How we feel.
May 10th and 11th, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get as many people that they're planning for it to be 2 days because they're assuming we're going to get so many people that they have to make it 2
mm-hmm.
days. And that's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And really the amount of people that we get there, we want like 10,000 people to show up. And by the way, there will be a performance by yours truly at the lunch break. Okay. I'm working it out right now to make sure that we can amplify and whatnot, but I'll be performing Wells Run Dry and some other music with some other friends, protest music against this mine. So please show up, please come, please let your voice be heard. Please come make a difference with us. Please come have some purpose. You know what I mean? Get off your duff for
mm-hmm.
God's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come have a purpose. It's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah. Anything else we want to say?
Wow. We covered a lot.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Okay.
For you, Jason, what is sacred and what is insane?
Sacred to me is family
mm-hmm.
and access to a lifestyle that's healthy.
Great. And what is insane?
Oh, Rise Gold.
Yeah.
Anyone who votes yes on this project.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. All right, great. As always, if you want to support this podcast and become part of our team, please go to patreon.com/Lunacy podcast. Really means a lot, really helps me to continue this work and us to continue this investigation of the love operating system, what it means to come from love and live from love together. Lunacy is a creation of myself, Jeff Ado, with podcast management and production by Kimberly Joy Voice, LLC. Much love, everybody.